Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen of the Blue Pacific continent, Bula Vinaka to you all. I am honored to join you for a special and significant day for the Pacific, our first ever Pacific Islands Forum Women Leaders Meeting. Before I go any further, I want to acknowledge every woman in this meeting today, specifically what it has taken for you to sit at this proverbial table. Some of you were the first woman in your family to get a degree. Others were the first heads of their agencies, or the first woman prime minister in your country. You've had to defy conventions, traditions, and perhaps even your family to reach where you are today. And whatever the journey has been, you have undoubtedly worked harder than your male colleagues. Yet, despite the injustices and obstacles you encountered along your own paths, here you sit, determined to change the narrative for the women and girls you now lead. That is not only praiseworthy, but deeply inspiring. Women and girls across our region face many common challenges, including the impacts of COVID-19, climate change, geostrategic competition, and gender inequality. It should go without saying that without the full inclusion of women in decision-making roles, we have zero hope of achieving effective, practical solutions to the myriad of 21st century challenges we face. Yet, it has taken us decades to convene a women-centered political forum, despite the data telling us of the multiple barriers our girls and women are up against. Up to 60% of women and girls in our region have experienced violence at the hands of partners or family members. The Inter-Parliamentary Union reports that globally, women comprise 25.5% of national parliamentarians as of January 2021. But the percentage of women in Pacific parliaments was around 6.4%. As a father of 5 hard-working daughters, these numbers alarm me. The UN continues to warn us that the pandemic has had a disproportionate impact on women and threatens to roll back decades of hard-won progress on the fight against inequality. Women's employment, for example, fell globally by 4.2% in 2020 compared with 3% for men, as sectors in which women tend to work more, such as tourism, were ravaged by necessary restrictions used to curb the spread of the virus. Now, however, as our borders across our region continue to reopen to the world and new life is breathed into our economies, Fiji is more optimistic than ever that the disruptions we have also painfully endured over the last 2 years can be shaped into something better. I believe that now, more than at any other point in history, the Pacific is primed and ready for a regional development reset, one that not only includes women more fully, but that is genuinely co-led by women from trade, agriculture, and industrial policies, to education, training, and labor market needs, from environmental challenges to human rights-based solutions. This Women Leaders Meeting brings to the table thinkers and doers from across our Blue Pacific, with the power to make change happen by design. We can only achieve more sustainable solutions for our people if men and women work together as equals. We know that we need a green-blue recovery because it's vital for our planet and is good for our economies. Nature-based climate solutions, renewable energy, decarbonization of the shipping industry. This is where our money needs to be directed. We need a digital recovery because our economic sectors need to be supported in leveraging technology to become more agile in the face of disruption and more sustainable. We need a recovery that prioritizes in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM. More specifically, one that emphasizes the education and inclusion of women in science, in technology, engineering, and mathematics. Giving women equal opportunities to pursue and thrive in STEM careers helps narrow the gender pay gap, enhance women's economic security, and ensures a diverse and talented workforce. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not exaggerating when I say that for any of this and more to be achieved, for us to even come close to meeting our 2030 SDG targets, a Pacific development reset must be underscored by a gender-inclusive recovery. The good news is that we are not starting from scratch. Thanks to the tireless work of scores of people over the last few decades, including many of you present here today, we have mechanisms in place and regional frameworks that demonstrate our commitment to equality. This includes the 2012 Gender Equality Declaration and the Pacific Platform for Action on Gender Equality and Women's Human Rights 2018-2030. For our part, I'm proud that Fiji's commitment to merit-based hiring has put more women in our civil service than ever. As you begin today, I ask that you keep in mind our 2050 strategy for the Blue Pacific continent, which is to be considered by forum leaders next month. I want to leave you with a brief but sobering excerpt from the ambitions section of the strategy. In 2050, the Pacific region will thrive based on its unique and positive cultural values and identities, by its commitment to ensuring full inclusivity, equity, and equality for all people, by defending and promoting human rights, gender equality, and social inclusion so that no one is left behind, and by providing equality, affordable and accessible education, health, training, financial and other services for all Pacific people. It's a mighty task, but not an impossible one. Indeed, it is a duty, and I have the utmost faith in your contribution to make this future a reality. My sincere good wishes for your deliberations. Thank you.